righty. Howdy, Andy. If I understand correctly, you're a neuroperformance expert, keynote speaker, and high stakes advisor. What do you have going on in your life right now?
Lots of things going on in my life right now. I'm actually really excited for many different reasons, but it seems to be life's taking me back to my roots. And I mean that hand on heart because where my whole career started was sales. And I've had so many people asking me about how I really took things to a whole new level. And I've worked with thousands of people over the years. So I'm really developed something quite special I want to bring out and show everybody.
Well, that's really amazing. So, like, you're getting back to your roots with sales. Like, what inspired you to kind of get back in this route, and what even inspired you to go this direction?
Well, it was kind of like my where it all began because I trained top salespeople and top performers to really shatter sales records and achieve results others can't compete. And where it all began is at the age of 27, I was doing big things. I was top sales producer in Australia and New Zealand, investment real estate, and I was putting together a project to build a resort in Fiji, and everything crashed. We took it over to Dubai. We sat down next to the Palms, Burj Khalifa, all amazing things. And then we came back, and my business partner thought it was a great idea to steal all my money, lie to me, and watch me go through a nervous breakdown, watch me go through bankruptcy, and I lost everything investments, girlfriend. And then, do you know what the crazy thing was, Curtis? He showed me his new boat with the money that he stole from me, you know? Crazy thing. And it was at that moment I made a decision. So I took that knowledge of sales, performance, high level psychology, and I rebuilt my career. I moved to LA, working with world champions, founders who were running like $300 million businesses, traders, tech leaders, real estate, even royalty. And so I just want to bring this out into the world for many different reasons that I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. So, before you had mentioned you've got this process called the subconscious sales system.
Yeah.
Like, how does this work?
It works in very many different ways, but do you know, let me, before I even get into how it works, let me show what happens if you don't have it. Because that's where I found myself like going back. And that's why I've just had so many people reaching out to me who are going through this because they're really sharing or learning kind of the wrong thing in the industry. They're taught by marketers to market. And when you start going up the sales ladder and you start really dealing with elite level people, the sales tactics that they're getting taught just become like comical. They become ridiculous because they teach, oh, this person says this, then you have to close them this way. And it's not the truth. I don't know about you, but if someone starts to use those tactics on me, I kind of start laughing because you can see all the tactics, you see all the strategies, and then they get confused. And the truth is, sales is, yes, you've got to have the skill set, but it's really about how you are building and rewiring and everything, who you are as your identity. And that's what I've created. So I do the same with high performers, the same with elite salespeople, founders, and business owners. So I really created this three-step system. The boost system to whatever results it is you're trying to get, right? You could be top of your game, fell off. I'm going to boost you back together, right? Whatever results you're after, we'll get them. Confidence. This is conditioning your nervous system, brain, and all of that good stuff. So we can really introduce the subconscious sales. And that's guided discovery. That's real high level influence, but it all starts inside. It all starts with you, you know? So that's really what they get. And this is how we can put sales numbers up that no one else can compete with. We're talking 70, 80, 90%, if higher if possible. And that's what I remember back in the day. You know, I closed over $20 million worth of real estate in 5 months. And we're talking, these are 22 properties in 5 months with 100% close rate. Then I was teaching sales departments, CEOs, companies. I was taken around everywhere and headhunting to multiple companies. And I just know sales is kind of the biggest thing, but it really all starts inside of you first.
Wow, that sounds like a very, like, transformational system that is definitely needed in the market. I know exactly what you're talking about when people are, like, trying to use the traditional sales tactics on
Sure.
you, and as someone who's done sales for a long time as well, it's like, that's laughable because we know
Sure.
that doesn't work at the highest level of conversation.
Doesn't.
Um, what stops people from learning a system like this?
It's I had to really think about this, Curtis. I really had to sit down because I wanted to make it simple for people. And so we can go as deep as you want. We can go right into playing with micro muscles, right? But that's just depends on what level you want to play at. We can also keep it really simple. And the truth is, the simplicity of this is we all hit thresholds. And that is the biggest thing that holds people back. And it's invisible boundaries of what they really believe they can handle, right? A billionaire is a billionaire, not just because of his integrity or his drive or whatever it is. He can handle that weight, right? And that's the same with sales. So as you increase your sales career, you've got to understand every time that you push into new levels of success, whether it's scaling 8 figures, leading at a higher level, or stepping into bigger opportunities, your brain, your nervous system, well, they have to adapt to that weight and that pressure of that expansion. But here's the problem. If you don't learn how to neuro condition, what I call that's my system, yourself to handle that pressure, what you're going to find is your system will trigger what I call a snapback effect. So you might be on form, you get triggered, that muscle of you, the identity, isn't big, thick, and strong yet. So it's like a rubber band, elastic band, and you snap back into this box. All of these default settings, everything you want is on the outside of this box. But if your brain works like a muscle, then you've got to understand every time we repeat this because we haven't built ourselves into this real identity, then what happens is we're just working our butts off inside of this. But everything we want is outside of it. So the truth is, imagine it like this: someone stepping into a new financial level. Maybe they've hit 500K a month for the first time. If the brain and nervous system aren't wired to handle that level of responsibility, influence, or expectation, they'll unconsciously sabotage, stall, or even burn out. Why? Because their old identity is at their set point. That's what they know. Their beliefs, their attitudes, their language, the values, how they see the world isn't like an 8 figure thinker yet. They like what's happening and they can't get control. So when they hit that threshold, right, they start to panic. And this snapback is what feels familiar. So they carry on doing the escapism, they carry on distracting themselves. And the worst part is every time, like I say, this wall, this boundary across their success, it gets thicker, stronger, and harder to break free. Then they just end up saying, this is who I am, instead of realizing it's just outdated wiring. So that's why 8 figure thinkers, what we do is we condition ourselves differently. They don't just chase bigger goals, they rewire their brain, their nervous system, their identity to handle that next level of certainty, control, and power. Does that make sense, Curtis?
That makes complete sense. So, what's really amazing about what you're talking about is you're not just talking about helping the salespeople rewire their own minds, it's also how they rewire their customers' thought process the same way. Because ultimately, the objections that they're getting or the things that are happening on the sales call that are preventing them from hitting those crazy numbers are because the people they're talking to don't have the right wiring in their brains as well. They have to take on a new identity to become a new person for whatever they're buying. And their old identity is what's holding them back. So this subconscious sales system is also seems like you're helping people take a step forward for themselves as the salesperson or closer and the person that they're helping. That's next
Yeah.
level. So
I,
like
I, I love it. I love it.
what
Exactly.
else helps people holds people back with this? Like time, money, what else?
Yeah, I mean, times are always an interesting thing, right? And it's so funny that you can get someone like Elon Musk. with the same 24 hours in a day, doing all the things that we do, but then suddenly we get blocked by the simplest of things. What we have to always remember is we're not building Apple, right? We're just in our little world. So it's really about mental bandwidth. And it's about how to navigate that operating system in your head so we can prioritize so you get more time. That's the whole point. It's how you use that time. And if you're calm, calculated, confident, focused, driven, then suddenly that creates exponential results, you know? So the other thing that I found is was time, but there's always money. It's always money, right? And so many people when they're in this old identity because of the wiring in their brain, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs that have led them to seeing the world as they are now. But in that limitation is also money. And the self-talk that says I need to make more money before I invest in myself, well, it's kind of crazy because it's like waiting to get fit before you've even hired a personal trainer. It simply doesn't work. So the top 1%, what you've got to understand is they invest in themselves first. There's a reason why people like LeBron has a coach. And do you even know, and I'm sure you do, Curtis, but even Steve Jobs and all these people had coaches, right? So there's a secret sauce in that. If you're trying to speed things up, if you're trying to fold time, if you're trying to get to where you want to go in half the time, then you bring in an expert who is able to just take you from A to Z, not A to B. And hopefully that makes sense. That makes
Mhm.
sense, Curtis. And the other one that I found is one of the biggest ones that has helped me. And I travel a lot. I live in 2 or 3 different countries, and I put myself around people who hold me at a standard higher than I hold myself. Now, there's brain reasons for this that we're not going to get into today, but the truth is, the environment, if you're in the wrong one, reinforces who you were or who you are now. Not who you want to be, not the results that you want to get, not the 8-figure thinker version of you. It just reinforces the same conversations, the same focus, the same beliefs, the same attitude. And it kind of makes you mediocre, right? But if we put you around ultra high performers, driven people, motivated, people who are hustling, going after it, then suddenly your brain starts to adapt with that too, you know? So success is never about finding the right time. Never. It's about making one decision to start.
Wow, that is extremely powerful. And like, thank you so much for talking with me today. If
Mm.
someone listening to this knows this is what they want, what do they need to do next?
It's simple. Like everything I try to make is simple. I make the complicated simple. But if you're interested in learning more about the subconscious sales system and the 8-figure thinker protocols, that I've really used, like I said before, to close over $20 million in real estate. I've worked with thousands of clients. I've worked and presented all over the world, right? And I've helped dozens of people like you, specifically in sales, actually probably close to 100 people in sales over this. So simple, nice and easy. All you got to do is head over to 8figurethinker.com/academy and register for, well, my free masterclass. And I want you to get the most out of this because it's easy just to go somewhere. Okay, I'll go there, I'll register. No, it's like, are you doing this or not? And if you're doing this, then it means your future self is going to look back on now and really make sure that it's happy, right? So I want you to get the most out of this. And I want you to check out the VIP and platinum experiences because I've kind of worked pretty damn hard to really give you a lot. And besides, you get the bonuses, the experiences, you get all these things that kind of not available to the public and people pay a lot of money for. And one of the things you could potentially get access to is a system called the 8-Figure Thinker Training Academy. It's being priced right now for 2.5K. And there's a way to get that in one of the bonuses, and it's kind of special. It takes you on the most incredible journey of entrepreneurism, and anyway, you'll find out. You'll find out.